On Global TV News Express, Nigerians groan over rising transportation. In business, Tinubu empowers ICRC to approve PPP projects under 20 billion naira without FEC approval. On the foreign scene, Israel eyes peace accords with Syria, Lebanon. And in sports, Nigeria grab win as Egypt rule African Fencing Championship. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Priscilla Obasi. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTime channel 276. You can also download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. Now the news in detail. The persistent increase in the price of premium motor spirits, popularly called petrol, is taking a heavy toll on Nigerian residents in Abuja, as transport costs continue to soar across the country's capital. Commuters, drivers, and small business owners say the high cost of petrol is disrupting daily routines and stretching household budgets to the limit. Kabir Hassan reports for Global Television. Apologies to bring you that report in a later bulletin. Moving on, there is a heightened security presence at Wadata Plaza, the national headquarters of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Abuja, as armed policemen have been deployed ahead of the party's crucial National Executive Committee meeting scheduled for today. The police had been reportedly deployed to prevent the proposed expanded caucus meeting from taking place. However, some staff members of the party were allowed to go into the premises of the secretariat without any resistance from the police. Meanwhile, a staff member of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Thomas Ibu, was reportedly manhandled and arrested by police officers at the party's national secretariat in Abuja amidst growing tensions over the scheduled 100th National Executive Committee (NEC) meeting. Armed police officers were seen surrounding and detaining Ibu, who works in the party's publicity department. Attempts by other PDP staff to intervene were unsuccessful as the officers overpowered them and took Ibu away. The reason for his arrest had not been disclosed at the time of filing this report. Workers under the Federal Capital Territory Administration took to the street in protest, expressing displeasure over poor welfare conditions and the government's failure to address the long-standing demands. The protesters are calling for payment of outstanding salaries, implementation of the minimum wage, and installed promotions, demanding for the immediate action of the FCT minister. They also raised concerns over the ongoing strike by government primary schools, which they say reflects broader neglect of the public sector. The reports. Apologies to bring you that report in a later bulletin. Moving on, styrofoam containers appears to be making a comeback in Lagos, despite the state government's enforcement of a ban on their use and disruption, which began a year ago. This ban, introduced in January 2024, was part of efforts to curb the environmental damage caused by single-use plastics, including non-biodegradable polystyrene foam, commonly known as styrofoam. The Lagos State government, through its Ministry of Environment and Water Resources, had confiscated styrofoam products found in shops across the state during the initial phase of enforcement. The National Health Insurance Authority has sanctioned 49 healthcare facilities and 47 health maintenance organizations in 2024 over violations of its operational guidelines. A statement signed by the authority's acting director of media and public relations, Emmanuel Ononopono, noted that the key issues recorded in the complaint against HCFs were unavailability of medicines, denial of services, out-of-pocket payment for covered services, and non-provision of payment narrations. For the HMOs, it is said that the issues were related to delay or denials of referral authorization codes delays in settlement of agreed reconciled payment, refusal of monitor quality assurance in facilities. The Nigerian Education Loan Fund has warned students to be cautious of a fake portal with fraudulent messages currently circulating online. This is contained in a statement in Abuja on Monday by the fund's Director of Strategic Communications, Oseyemi Oluwatuyi. Oluwatuyi said the information contained is in the online message and was misleading. The Federal High Court in Abuja granted the suspended senator representing Kogi Central Senatorial District, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, bail on self-recognizance. Akpoti-Uduaghan was arraigned on a 6th-count charge bordering on alleged cybercrime. After the charges were read to her, she pleaded not guilty to all. The governor of Kano State, Abba Kabir Yusuf, led a delegation to the funeral rites of the late business mogul and elder statesman Aminu Dantata in Medina, Saudi Arabia. Dantata, a renowned philanthropist and industrialist, died in the early hours of Saturday in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, where he had spent his final days. A statement by the governor's spokesperson, Sanusi Tofa, said the high-powered delegation includes the Emir of Kano, Khalifa Muhammadu Sanusi II, Jigawa State Governor Alhaji Umar Namadi, former Jigawa State Governor Ali Saad Birnin Kudu, and other top government officials and dignitaries. Presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Peter Obi, has confirmed he will contest the 2027 presidential election. Obi added that he was willing to serve a single 4-year term if elected. He made the declaration while speaking during a live session on X Spaces, where he answered questions from both supporters in Nigeria and abroad. The National Association of Nigerian Students has announced plans to stage a mass protest on Wednesday, July 2, 2025, over continued closure of public primary schools in the Federal Capital Territory. The student body described the situation as unacceptable and a grave injustice to the Nigerian child. The association had issued a 7-day ultimatum to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to reopen public primary schools in Abuja following the continued closure of schools for over 2 months, due to unresolved issues between the FCT administration and the local government education authorities. Tension has gripped communities in Guma local government area of Benue State following a fresh attack by suspected armed herders that claimed the lives of 4 mobile police officers. The coordinated assault, which reportedly started in Asha community, where the attackers fired sporadically, forced residents to flee into nearby bushes for safety. The violence quickly spread towards Ortese, a settlement hosting thousands of internally displaced persons. Details have emerged on how notorious bandit kingpin Kachala Yelu Dambokolo died in weekend in Zamfara State after earlier gun battle with Shinkafi volunteer forces in the state. Dambokolo's death is being widely celebrated in Zamfara State and many parts of the northwest states, as many locals known him as the most dreaded bandit in the zone, even more dangerous than his cousin Bello Turji, who they describe as a mere spokesperson. It was reported that Dambokolo and more than 173 bandits were killed after the blistering surprise attack by the volunteer forces. You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When News Express returns, Nigeria emerged victorious as Egypt ruled Africa Fencing Championship. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now we go to the business news. President Bola Tinubu has approved a new policy authorizing the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission (ICRC) to independently approve public-private partnership projects between 20 billion naira, removing the need for Federal Executive Council clearance in such cases. Under the directive, ministries can now approve PPPs under 20 billion naira, while agencies and parastatals can handle those between 10 billion naira. The policy is designed to fast-track project delivery and attract more private investment into infrastructure. Nigeria's promissory notes fell by 15.6% quarter-on-quarter between December 2024 and March 2025. According to the Debt Management Office, DMO says the notes fell from 1.542 trillion naira to 1.301 trillion naira, reflecting the recent federal government's effort to settle verified obligations and improve confidence among key stakeholders in the economy. DMO data further stated that it also represents a 17.1% decrease year-on-year from March 2024 to March 2025. Moving on, China has lifted a ban on seafood imports from most regions of Japan, partially mending a years-long dispute over Tokyo's handling of nuclear wastewater. China and Japan are key trading partners, but increased friction over territorial rivalries and military spending has frayed ties in recent years. Japan's brutal occupation of parts of China before and during World War II remains a sore point, with Beijing accusing Tokyo of failing to atone for its past. Asian equities most rose on Monday following a record-breaking day on Wall Street as investors kept tabs on countries' efforts to strike trade deals with the United States before a key deadline next week. After the dollar weekend on growing expectations for more interest rate cuts, while eyes were on Donald Trump's signature tax-cutting bill, now itching towards a Senate vote that some experts warn could add trillions of dollars to national debt. Officials from Japan and India have extended their stay in Washington to continue talks, raising hopes for agreement with two of the world's biggest economies. And on the foreign scene, a United Nations conference aiming to rally fresh support for development aid began in Spain on Monday, with a sector in crisis as United States-led funding cuts jeopardize the fight against poverty. At least 50 world leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, Kenya's William Ruto, European Union Chief Ursula von der Leyen, and United Nations head Antonio Guterres, are gathering in the city of Seville for the June 30, July 3 meeting. Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye Okoudors, Daniel Doba, Angolan leader João Lourenço, and Sudanese Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan also joined more than 44,000 delegates from businesses, civil society, and financial institutions. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services has announced a significant policy change affecting refugees and asylum seekers. Effective from July 3, 2025, the agency says it will only recognize legally registered civil marriages between principal refugees or asylees and their spouses when considering derivative immigration applications. This shift could have far-reaching implications for applicants from countries where customary or religious unions are common. Israel says it is interested in striking peace agreements with neighboring Lebanon and Syria, a potentially historic shift in the region after decades of war and animosity. With Syria under new leadership after the fall of longtime ruler Bashar al-Assad and Lebanon's Iran-backed Hezbollah movement weakened, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar told journalists his government wanted more normalization agreements with Arab countries. Control of Israeli-occupied Golan Heights has long been a source of tension between Israel and Syria, which are technically still at war. And now we go to the sports news. The Confederation of African Football is set to launch a new trophy on Wednesday ahead of this year's WAFCON tournament, which will be played from July 5th to 26th in Morocco. Ahead of this year's edition, the 12-team tournament has also seen an upward review in the prize money from $975,000 in previous edition to $2.4 million. Nigeria women's SP team celebrated a historic milestone at the 23rd African Fencing Championship by securing their first ever win in the competition on Sunday to finish in top 5. The 5-day tournament, hosted at Charterhouse, Lagos, concluded with Egypt emerging as the overall champion after assessing the highest number of gold medals. After a quarter-final loss to Algeria, the Nigerian team, comprising Somtochukwu Eribene, Sarah Idongesit, and Adeboduniri Thomas, railed to the end to end their campaign on a high. And as we end the Global TV News Express, let us take a look at our top stories. We told you that the President Bola Tinubu, has called on residents of the Federal Capital Territory to take care of the government's infrastructure. In business, we told you President Bola Tinubu has approved a new policy authorizing the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, to independently approve public-private partnership projects below 20 billion naira, removing the need for Federal Executive Council clearance in such cases. And on the foreign scene, we told you Israel says it is interested in striking peace agreements with neighboring Lebanon and Syria, a potentially historic shift in the region after decades of war and animosity. And finally, in sports, we told you Nigeria women SP team celebrated a historic milestone at the 23rd African Fencing Championship by securing their first ever win in the competition on Sunday to finish in the top 5. And that is it on Global TV News Express. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using the handle at Global TV NG. You can also download the Global TV Nigerian app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. I am Priscilla Obasi. Thank you very much for watching.
Do you know that Global Television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch Global Television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to Global Television.